Can you share like a personal story or experience that kind of impacted your perspective on wellness? Like what maybe got you into it as a career or
I mean, that's a big question. When I think about that, I think typically about my patients first, but to go to the second part of that question about coming into like chiropractic, I didn't have like a miracle story for myself, which is I think interesting in the chiropractic world because so many people who get into the profession have maybe not a miracle story, but somehow chiropractic helped them or helped a family member or whatever. And I don't have that. I originally wanted to be a physical therapist, which was, schooling wise, very similar, right? Up to the point of deciding chiropractic school versus PT school. And I went to...
We won't say he made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead.
We'll fight later. Yeah. I went to shadow a couple chiropractors, and my goal going to the first one that I shadowed was he was a chiropractor for the athletes at the college that I went to, which I thought cool. Like you get to work with these Division I people and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I'm going to go shadow. I'm going to see what that's all about. Cause I originally wanted to do like like more sports injury sort of thing on the PT side. And I shadowed him for a day. And I think I saw one of the athletes, one of his patients out of however many there were was one of the athletes. And then most of them were like just regular people and families. And there were a couple really interesting stories that stood out to me. Maybe not necessarily on the wellness side, but cool overcoming this sort of symptom or whatever was going on in that person's life. And I was like, I didn't realize chiropractic and that were related. And so it just kind of opened my eyes to that sort of thing, that chiropractic should be or could be part of anyone's, sort of wellness circle, if you will. So that was kind of an eye-opening thing. I mean, the specific one I'm thinking about is this kid came in, he was a high school wrestler. He hurt himself in one of his matches, came to get adjusted, whatever. I think it was like his third or fourth adjustment. He came in, he left after the adjustment. His mom asked to talk to the chiropractor in private, and he left. He went out to the car. She starts crying. I guess he had been for 16 years wetting the bed every single night. After I think it was the first adjustment, he had like 2 nights in a row where he didn't have an accident. Then it kind of came back. After the second adjustment, it was like 4 or 5 nights in a row. And so at whatever point it was, he had multiple nights in a row, and that was the only thing that changed. I was like, why would that be correlated with it? And then once you learn how the body works, it doesn't make sense for that sort of thing. So that was just a cool, like, eye-opening experience for the chiropractic side. So, again, not a personal story on that sort of sense. Besides that, I got to witness this lady crying in front of me as a, just it started out as a weird sort of situation, but turned into like that's life-changing for that kid sort of thing. So
definitely,
I can guarantee he's a lifelong sort of patient, even if he's just at that maintenance wellness sort of thing where he's getting checked maybe once a month at this point. I mean, this was over a decade ago now, but
no, you're only 30, right?
Yeah, 30 to 35, but it was kind of cool to see that. But I think like another story that stands out to me, and just again, maybe not necessarily a wellness approach, but when we had a patient whose wife was terminally ill and just in the hospital, out of the hospital, that sort of thing. And there was a point of maybe 6 months where it was just heavy stress and burden on the husband. And we could have made the perfect adjustment every time, 7 days a week, and he wouldn't have got better just because of that mental stress on him and the physical stress of him helping his wife and all that kind of stuff. And I hate to say it, but when she passed, she did pass, and then you could just see his whole health change too, for the positive, because he didn't have that one stress on himself. So I think seeing how important mental health, stress, chemical, there's chemical stresses in our lives, as much as we can avoid them, they're unavoidable completely. So you need to have multiple steps in line to have that wellness lifestyle. And I mean, chiropractic is only one of those components, but it's just interesting to see how that heavy burden of stress on him, once it was gone, his whole health,
improved
picture, changed in the positive.
Yeah.
So,
and that's it. Other thing, a lot of times when people think of wellness, they're automatically go to physical wellness.
Correct.
And when you think of wellness, they're probably even leaning towards being active, like working out or running or what have you. But it's a whole lot more intricate than that. So
Absolutely.
From pain, like sometimes, as you mentioned, some people just want to be out of pain. That's their wellness journey is I just want to be pain free. I want to be able to get out of the bed without assistance, walk to the bathroom by myself,
Right.
And do whatever I need to do in the house with or without assistance and with and without pain. So often, when people say, "Oh yeah, I'm on this wellness journey. I'm improving my wellness," you're thinking, "Oh, they're doing this," and you have these higher level things, but also mental, like you talked about, mental and stress that plays a huge part in our wellness because what we think about ourselves plays a part in how we feel about ourselves, and if we are either stressed because outside things or we're stressed because internal things, external or internal, those stressors are having an impact on our health and our wellness.
For sure.
Whether we have the ability to kind of fight through, and oftentimes you'll hear, "Oh, if you're stressed or you're worried, you should exercise. That will help decrease your stress, release endorphins, and it will help decrease stress." But then it's also beyond just that.
100%.
Like sometimes you may need to get professional help or counseling, someone to kind of guide you through those things so that when you are working out, that will actually enhance your stress management versus just saying, "Oh, just go work out and you'll feel better." It's not always that simple.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think mental health I think it's more people are aware of it the last handful of years, but it's still underappreciated for how important it is. And it's not palpable. So it's hard to put a finger on exactly
you look normal.
what's going on. Exactly.
So nothing should be wrong with you.
So it's very tricky in that sense. And I mean, I can't talk on it because I don't, of the world of, mental health. I know maybe a sliver of it, but it's just, I think it's underappreciated, but it's just as important as physical health as far as overall wellness and well-being and that sort of thing.
And we are going to have a clinical psychologist in on the show a little later to kind of talk about his thoughts on wellness. And so that's kind of like the goal of this, to have a bunch of different healthcare professionals come in and talk about wellness from their specific aspect and what they do, but to incorporate it so there's a full pie, for lack of a better word.
I'm fine
Get a slice of this, a slice of this one, a slice of this one, a slice of this one.
Sounds good to me.
To promote you got to eat the whole pie, right? You can't have a portion of the pie.
Right.
You got to eat the whole thing. I like food and I like desserts.
Yeah, so very good. I'm on board with
my go-to analogy. Having all of the slices of pie available, creates a whole total picture of wellness. What changes or innovations would you like to see, whether it's specific to your industry or not, but innovations that you would like to see to kind of help support even the clients that you're working with on their wellness journey?
Would it be weird to say that I almost don't want to see too many changes? I want people to utilize the available resources for them now, because I think, and I mean, innovations is a big word because it can be technological, it can just be systems. It can be a lot of different things, but I think there's enough resources right now. Even just look at the working out aspect of things. Like, you don't need the newest equipment to work out. You don't need the most expensive gym.
True.
You can walk up and down a hallway for 10 minutes.
You can walk and up and down your stairs.
Up and down your stairs. You don't
for strength training.
I don't think you need the nicest, shiniest, fanciest thing to incorporate things, because there's so many things that work really, really well now. It's just, I think it might be underutilized, for example, or just ignored or something like that. But I don't know that I'd want to see a whole lot. I mean, where my Fitbit, that kind of technology, fine. If you want to use it, whatever. If I don't get I think it's 250 steps in an hour, it'll buzz and tell me you got, 75 more steps to go. But
do you listen to it?
Depends on where I'm at.
Yeah.
I typically get as many steps in as I can, but if I've had a busy, time in with a, let's say for a new patient or something like that, takes me 45 minutes to an hour. I'm not walking circles around them,
Like, don't mind me. I'm just trying to get my steps in. Keep talking.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if it's something, if I'm working on paperwork, if I'm watching a baseball game or something like that, absolutely, I'll get up and, make the thing stop talking to me. So
mine just says that I've been sitting too long.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't tell me, I don't have it set per hour, but that's a good one. I have my overall total day steps. And sometimes if it's like close to bedtime, I'll like, I need 100 more steps. Yeah. Okay, let me just stand here and walk in March.
It is motivating for things like that too. So I do listen to it when I
Or can. Irritating.
Or irritating, yeah, absolutely.
No, I know. I am not moving. I am in the middle of finishing this report.
Right. It takes us 2 hours and 20 minutes to drive to my in-laws. And typically we'll stop halfway. We'll, if we need gas or food, whatever. But we'll try to walk a little bit. But it'll tell me in that hour, like, you've only taken 2 steps this hour while I'm driving.
I'm in the car. You're not the boss of me. You cannot tell me what to do. We often go back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Get up and walk. No. What's the funniest wellness trend that you...
Ooh. Funniest wellness trend? I don't know. I think that's the problem, though, is that wellness trends are trends, and that they will come and go. Like, ice baths are a hugely popular thing right now, right?
Huge right now. Yes.
Are they great? Sure. Like, I don't want to do it. They are bolder than I am to jump in a bucket of ice. Could I do it as part of my wellness thing? Sure. Probably should I? I don't know. I think it's good to challenge our body and that sort of thing, but I think trends do come and go. I'm going to have to think about that one a little bit.